you know that some sea creatures are so big that in ancient times they were mistaken for creepy monsters? The kraken and the sea serpent? And what about the man-sized jellyfish and crayfish? The 33-foot-long snake? And the leader of all time? What does this leader look like? And how huge is it? You're about to see it all. This is Infinity, and in this episode I'll show you the biggest creature of all time, as well as tell you about the other most enormous creatures in the history of our planet. Let's go! Let's start our journey with the sea. There are many fish in the oceans and seas, but not every fish can compare to the giant oarfish. Looking at pictures of several people holding this fish, it seems that the images are photoshopped, or at least that people holding some toy fish. But there's no deception here, because the giant oarfish is very big indeed. This is the longest living bony fish. On average, the fish is 10 feet long, but fishermen often find individuals 20, 23, even 26 feet long. And the largest fish ever recorded was 36 feet long. Due to its incredible size, the giant oarfish even made it into the Guinness Book of World Records and acquired yet another name, the ribbon fish. And indeed, this could be the ribbon of some huge creature. By the way, giant oarfish are considered prototypes of the legendary sea serpents. Scientists believe that in ancient times, when giant oarfish was not described as a species, fishermen were frightened to see such a fish and mistook it for a vicious monster. But this fish is not a monster. Fortunately, these huge creatures are not dangerous to humans. First, they live at a hefty depth, and secondly, they eat crustaceans, small fish, and squid. However, not every squid in the ocean can be devoured by the giant oarfish. After all, squids are different, and giant squids will not fit down the throat of the giant oarfish. Rather, it would be the other way around. If the giant oarfish is thought to be the prototypical sea serpent, the giant squid is the one thought to be the sinister kraken. Maybe the kraken really exists and lurks somewhere in the unexplored depths of the sea, but the existence of giant squids is not to be doubted. Scientists have been interested in these huge cephalopods for over 100 years. They never cease to be surprised that these animals grow up to 46 feet in length. The eyes of the giant squid correspond to the size of a large plate, and the weight of the giant is several hundred pounds. Some squids can weigh up to half a ton. These big guys do not like attention from the outside and prefer to stay at great depths, namely about 1,000 feet. However, sometimes they do rise to the surface to pose for the cameras. Blue whale. These giants also like to rise to the surface, impressing everyone with their amazing fountains, incredible jumps, and of course their size. In terms of size, the blue whale is unrivaled either at present or at any time in general. It's this creature that's considered the largest in the history of the Earth. Yes, in terms of length, you can argue blue whales reach 108 feet in length. The largest recorded individual was a female slaughtered by whalers in 1926. Its length was 110.1 feet. There are and have been creatures longer than whales, but they've been no creatures heavier than these giants. The weight of the blue whale can significantly exceed 150 tons. A record case of catching a 190-ton whale in 1947 is known. These facts are staggering. The blue whale is approximately 25 times heavier than the African bush elephant, the heaviest terrestrial animal, and several thousand times heavier than a human. Even more astonishing is the well-known fact that for all its size, the blue whale is a real do-gooder. If humpback whales or sperm whales can attack humans or ships in anger, the blue whale will never do so. The giant calmly swims in the ocean, eating plankton and deafening the waters with a piercing roar. By the way, the blue whale is the loudest mammal on our planet. The sound of its roar reaches 190 decibels. This is louder than the sound of a rocket at launch. It's a pity that such a loud, huge, and simply amazing animal is on the verge of extinction. Which creature do you picture when it comes to jellyfish? Specifically, what kind of jellyfish? Probably a small one, right? I don't suppose images of a jellyfish the size of a person pop up in your head, but such jellyfish do exist. The barrel jellyfish is an excellent confirmation of this. It reaches 16 inches in diameter, but in some cases it can grow to 59 inches or more. In 2019, the record-breaking giant was encountered by biologist Lizzie Daly, who dived off the coast of Cornwall in the United Kingdom with underwater filmmaker Dan Abbott. The two divers shared impressive footage of the colossal man-sized jellyfish. Unlike the do-gooder blue whale, the barrel jellyfish is not a completely safe creature. It's venomous and can sting unpleasantly. The good news is that it will feel similar to touching a nettle, not very pleasant, but also nothing terrible. It all depends on the size, though. If you take a huge, human-sized barrel jellyfish, it leaves a plate-sized inflammation. Skin gets red, swollen, and sore for hours. But it's not that bad. Fatal outcome is out of the question. Tylosaurus. But this monster for sure would easily send anyone to Kingdom Come. But we don't have to worry because it's long gone. Tylosaurus inhabited our planet 85 million years ago in what's now America, Japan, South Africa, Antarctica, and Russia. It was a giant mosasaur up to 49 feet long and weighing more than 8 tons. At one time, it was the largest mosasaur in the world and one of the largest creatures in general. The name of this sea monster can be translated as knob lizard. The choice of name was influenced by the elongated shape of the jaws, which scientists saw as a battering knob to better hunt large prey. Apparently, Tylosaurus rammed its prey, stunned it, and then ruthlessly destroyed its prey with its long jaws and very sharp teeth. The remains of Tylosaurus's stomach contents leave no doubt that it was an extremely dangerous predator. The remains of sharks, birds, fish, and even other mosasaurs were found inside. Apparently, Tylosaurus attacked any available prey. How else to explain such a diverse diet? Long before Tylosaurus terrorized all the inhabitants of the ocean, Shastasaurus were the kings of the water. They lived 213 to 205 million years ago in what is now North America. The size of these giant ichthyosaurus is even more striking. The length was up to 69 feet, and the weight was 65 tons. It's thought that Shastasaurus grew to such a large size that it was better able to dive to great depths. Its large size also meant that it could breathe in more air and stay at depth longer than smaller ichthyosaurs. It was larger than most marine predators of its time, so it could choose any dish for dinner. A huge clam, a small fish, whatever was in its way. Shastasaurus dealt with it epically. It did not attack or devour its prey, but literally sucked it into its mouth. The pressure was so powerful that the prey had no choice but to swim into the monster's mouth, from which it was impossible to escape. Jackalopterus. The next creature in this episode is not as big as Shastasaurus, the giant squid, let alone the blue whale. It was only 8.2 feet long. But there's a nuance. It's an arthropod. Imagine a modern crayfish. Enlarge it tenfold, and you'll get Jackalopterus, a genus of crustaceans and the largest arthropod in history. Given its incredible size, it's not surprising that Jackalopterus felt like the kings of prehistoric bodies of water. They preferred fresh water, in which they hunted on small vertebrates, trilobites, and also on their own kind. They sometimes resorted to cannibalism. It would be terrible if these giants survived, but fortunately they're long dead. They died out as much as 406 million years ago. They inhabited the territory of modern Germany and the USA in the early Devonian period. But even nowadays, there are enough huge aquatic creatures. When it comes to fish, the whale shark has no equal. At the moment, it's the largest fish on the planet, as well as the largest of the sharks. The length of these giants often reaches 39 feet, plus they can weigh several tons. For a long time, it was believed that the largest of the reliably documented individuals was 41.5 feet long, but in the late 1990s, there was information about a 65.5-foot whale shark, which weighed 34 tons. Fortunately, whale sharks, like whales, are safe creatures. These giants are friendly, do not engage in fights with humans, and are even happy to let them swim nearby. The largest shark of all time would be angry at its distant relative for how peacefully it treats others. Of course, I'm talking about the sinister megalodon. Even the whale shark pales in comparison, because these prehistoric monsters weighed up to 47 tons at a length of 49 feet. They boasted some of the longest and sharpest teeth of all time, with which they crushed almost everyone. The bite force of a large megalodon was enough to easily open the chest of a whale. In fact, voracity was the reason for the extinction of megalodons. Scientists believe that these monsters ate everyone they couldn't stand the competition with other predators, and gradually disappeared. But who knows? Maybe a couple of megalodons are still swimming in the ocean. What do you think? Oceans, seas, and other bodies of water are not the only place where you can find incredible giants. They can also be found in the sky. Take, for example, the golden eagle, the largest eagle in the world, and the Andean condor, the largest flying bird in the Western Hemisphere. These birds are huge, aren't they? But they're nothing compared to the leader of all time, the Pegilornis bird species. The species is thought to be the largest flying bird in the history of the world, with a wingspan of 24.5 feet. For comparison, the golden eagle has a wingspan of about 8.2 feet. However, the huge size prevented them from flying properly. Scientists believe that the species was able to fly only by jumping off a cliff and soaring. The flight speed could reach 37 miles per hour. Due to the wingspan, Pegilornis could overcome quite large distances over the sea, but apparently never dived. The bird quickly grabbed the prey floating near the surface with its beak. Next up is the most famous non-venomous snake. The giant anaconda is the queen of South America. And not only that, after all, it's the anaconda that holds the title of the heaviest modern snake. The weight of 66 to 154 pounds is normal for this reptile, although there are exceptions in the form of individuals weighing over 220 pounds. The anaconda's incredible size and strength allows it to devour many creatures in South America, from capybaras, birds, and turtles to cougars and crocodiles. The larger the anaconda, the larger the prey it can eat. There would probably be no equal in that regard to this individual found in 2016. Brazilian workers were building a dam, made a controlled explosion in the caves, and found a 33-foot-long anaconda there. This despite the fact that the official record holder was just 16 feet long. The reptile was so huge that it had to be lifted with a crane. Deep sea monster. Let's return to the ocean, which conceals so many mysteries. We can never solve all of them, but can we try to solve at least one? The last topic in this episode is about an incident that happened in 2017. A remote-controlled camera discovered incredible remains at the bottom of the ocean, a spine that was more than 98 feet long. The diver who operated the camera couldn't identify which remains he discovered, so he sent the video to scientists, including paranormal researcher Deborah Hatswell. None of them could figure out what the diver with this camera had stumbled upon. Various theories were put forward. Some thought the remains belonged to a blue whale, a record-breaking giant oarfish, or a colossal sea snake. But their size didn't correlate with what was found. It was then assumed that these were the remains of an ancient creature unknown to science. Possible, but most likely in that case, these remains would have turned into fossils. That leaves one possibility. What if these are the remains of an unknown giant that scientists have yet to describe? What if it, and not the blue whale, is the largest creature of all time? After all, the oceans hold many mysteries yet to be solved, and the mysterious remains of the giant may be one of them. That's all, guys. Which giant animals have you seen? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.